So thanks everyone for joining. This is Jeff Haag with CMG Financial. And yeah, I heard about this loan product, about a couple months ago, and I thought it was really interesting. So Jeff, I'll let you take it away. Thanks for doing this meeting.
Hey, you're very welcome. Let me talk to you about this. CMG has the only rights to this loan, and it's called the all-in-one. Basically, you take your checking account, your mortgage account, you just lay them on top of each other so that they work together. And I'll get more into that in a little bit, but this product first came from the country of Australia. Chris George, the owner of CMG, actually brought this product from Australia to the United States. And believe it or not, he brought it on a napkin. He wrote all the notes down on a napkin, brought the product to the United States in 2003. It took us 2 years to get that product approved, to go through all the red tape that you have to do. And it was approved in 2005. The first loan closed in my office in 2005, July of 2005. Ever since has been going crazy. It's a loan that it's not for everybody, but it is for everybody to look at. And it can really be a game changer. It can be a game changer from the way that you even look at mortgages. If you look at the 30-year fixed rate mortgage today, right, it's pretty archaic. Nothing's changed. I mean, you can compare that to your cell phone, right? You had big cell phones this big, and now they're real small, right? So things have evolved except for the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. So with that in mind, Chris, when he brought the product here, he also found out that this product is available even to our neighbors in the north in Canada. We are the only country in the world that has a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. No one else has a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. As a matter of fact, even our neighbors to the north, the longest fixed rate mortgage you can get is a 15-year mortgage. A fixed rate 15-year. You can get the ARMs, the 3s, the 5s, the 7s, the 10s, but there is no fixed rate mortgage longer than 15 years. The average consumer that has this loan that qualifies in the country of Australia pays off their home in 7.7 years, not 30 years, not refinancing and then going back into a 30-year. It gives the opportunity for the consumer to really take advantage and leverage their own money and ultimately become the bank of themselves. So when you look at this product called the all-in-one, what you're basically doing is you're taking a mortgage loan where today you make your mortgage payments. Let's just say it's B of A. So when you make your mortgage payment every month, it comes out of your checking account and it goes onto your, it goes to interest first and then principal. Whereas this loan, what happens is, this is the only loan in America where you actually pay principal first, then interest. Yes, I said that right. You pay principal first, then interest. And that's one of the big changes, the fundamental changes with this loan versus any other traditional loan that we have today here in the United States. So when you think about that, how it works is really simple. So when you think about this today, when you get paid, and let's just say that you're, and I brought an example today, and I'd love to show everybody, but you can't see it. But it's an example of a client that I'm working on right now where they looking to refinance, take cash out. They're looking to, I just put in an interest rate of 5%. It's probably even higher today with the rates the last couple of days. But it basically, what it does is it compares your traditional loan to the all-in-one. And in this client's case, not only were they able to get the cash out, they were able to pay off their home in 8.7 years versus a traditional loan of 30 years and save $222,000. So, so I'll give you an example on how it works. works. And I know I don't have a lot of time, so, but I'd love to talk to anybody about this. So if you think about this today, let's just say that I'm a school teacher. I get paid once a month. It's $10,000 a month net. So my $10,000 normally would come into the Bank of America account, my checking account. And then while it sits there, the bank is using that money. Well, now all of a sudden, this $10,000 comes into my all-in-one, and automatically that evening, it's swept over to my mortgage. And it reduces that principal balance by that $10,000 that day. And again, your interest is calculated daily. So you're not tied to one of the ugliest things. It's called an amortization schedule. Those amortization schedules favor the bank or the mortgage company. They don't favor you as a consumer. So what you're getting rid of is you're getting rid of the amortization schedule and you're becoming your own amortization schedule. So $10,000 comes in. Let's just say that I have a $100,000 mortgage balance. That evening, my mortgage balance is $90,000. And the interest is calculated daily. But that $10,000 is still liquid to you 24/7, so you can still get to it. We do give you, obviously, a checking account. We give you free bill pay online. We give you an ATM debit card. So the way that you get to money, nothing changes. This loan is designed not to change your spending habits. It's just basically designed for you to save interest. And when you save interest, that means more principal reduction. And that's what you're doing here. So in this scenario, again, I'm $90,000 balance. One of the things that I fundamentally had to do when I did my first one, I'm actually on my third right now. And just so you know a little bit about me, I've been in the mortgage business over 40 years. And I can tell you that I'm probably one of the most conservative people that you'll ever meet. With that in mind, though, when this loan came out, I took a look at it and I was like amazed at what it could really do. So I had to be a testament to myself, and I did it. And I had a 15-year mortgage. I had 8 years remaining. I had a $400,000 balance. I had $100,000 in savings. When I closed on this loan, I took the $100,000 and put it into this loan. Why? Because it was still liquid to me 24/7. I could get to it if I needed it. So now my balance is down to $300,000 without changing my spending habits, doing nothing different than what I was doing every day. I paid off my home in 3.3 years. So I don't have a mortgage. Well, take that back. I do, because my daughter got married. And that cost me an arm and a leg. So I do have a mortgage on that one. I just bought a property in Arizona, paid cash for it from my line of credit that I have on my home today with the all-in-one. So with that, and then I just replenished myself and did another all-in-one on the property in Arizona, took that money and put it right back into my home loan. So going back to that example, if my balance is $90,000, the one fundamental change that I made is I used to be the order to the checkbook. I used to balance, do all that stuff. But now I don't. I pay everything on a credit card, and most of you probably do it already. I pay everything on a credit card today. Talking about utilities, gas, food, everything you can think of, I put on a credit card. Why? Because I want to keep my balance as low as possible for as long as possible throughout the month. That way, I'm paying less interest. And if I pay less interest, that means I have more of a principal reduction. So in that case, let's just say that my expenses were $3,000. So what I did is, when I first set this up in 2007, I called my credit card company and said, hey, change my due date to the 28th day of the month. So I changed my due date to the 28th day of the month. All my bills were paid on that credit card, 28th day of the month. Boom, my bill pay went in, paid off that $3,000. Now my balance, though, went from $90,000 to $93,000, but that's okay, because it went up to $93,000, but I'm only paying 3 or 4 days worth of interest on that $93,000. because on the first day of the month, here comes my $10,000 again. So the bank goes back and says, okay, Jeff, for the first 28 days of the month, your balance was 90,000. For 4 days of the month, your balance was 93. Your interest for that total amount was $500. So my balance then went to 93,500. And then what happens is on the first day of the month, boom, here comes my $10,000 again. Now I'm down to 83.5, and it just continues to go on like that. Granted, some months you're gonna have more in expenses, some months you're gonna have less. But the whole premise behind this is that you become the bank of yourself. You take full control of your own finances. And the greatest thing about that is this: as you continue to pay down that balance, all those funds are still liquid to you 24/7. So some of you are probably saying, well, this sounds like a home equity line of credit. You're right to a certain degree. A home equity line of credit typically is a second lien. This is a first mortgage lien position. On the second mortgages, typically here in the United States, it's tied to prime rate. And at the end of 10 years, you can't use it anymore. You have to refinance it. Or the other thing is that on those second mortgages, there's no caps. So if the interest rates went up to 21%, that home equity line of credit would go up to 21%. So on ours though, we do have a cap. It's 6% over your start rate. We do have, instead of shutting it off in 10 years, what we do is we say, okay, we put everybody on a 30-year just for functionability to be able to utilize it. Doesn't mean you have to keep it open. I recommend you do, because it only costs you $50 a year to keep it open. So we do have a cap at 6% over at the end of 10 years. So let's just say, keep it easy, you've got a $960,000 line. And at the end of 10 years, you owe $200,000. Well, there's 20 years remaining, because every mortgage has to have a start date and an ending date. So with that in mind, you got 20 years left, which is 240 months. If you take 240 months and divide that into the 960, that's $4,000 a month. So what happens is your line of 960, instead of shutting off, the line amount will reduce by $4,000 every month until it gets to zero. Okay, so that's why if you've got a $200,000 balance and you're in year 11 and you want to do a major improvement to the house, you can just write a check. You don't have to go refinance. You don't have to go pay any more costs. This is your loan for life. There is no way that you should need any other loan other than this one. Unless, of course, you're going to buy investment properties and things like that. Then you may want to just use this and utilize this from a standpoint of, if you have enough availability, maybe then you write a check. But maybe you only put down a certain percentage to make sure that you cash flow. But every scenario is different. So again, it gives you the opportunity to really take full control of your own financing.
Can I make an suggestion, selfishly? I'm considering doing this for a fourplex I own. Can we run it as an example? Okay, cool. Do you mind if I use one of the back of that as scratch paper?
Yeah, but I don't have my computer.
No, that's okay. We'll just talk basic numbers. So do you mind if I borrow your pen? Sorry. Go ahead. Okay, so I have a fourplex. I owe roughly $500,000. It's worth roughly $1 million, right? So I have $500,000 in equity that I can't touch right now unless I refinance, or I do a home equity line of credit on a fourplex rental property, which is, I'm not finding anybody who's even doing that. So right now I have $500,000 in equity that I can't touch. I seriously can't touch it. I found some that are just terrible lines of credit. And so I'm looking for a solution to that. So let's say I found a solution and they would give me up to 70% loan to value. So I've got 500,000 standard mortgage, and then I have a 200,000 line of credit. That 200,000 line of credit if I use any of that money, I'm going to be paying interest only payments on it, and it's going to be really high. You know, probably 8 to 9% right now for a line of credit for a rental property, multifamily rental property. And I also have 2 payments. I still have my $500,000 mortgage payment that I'm paying, and I'm also paying my interest payment on the $200,000 I just took out. If I took it all out, it could be less if I don't take it out, all of it out. Okay. So if I were to refinance, which I'm really considering with this product, my mortgage line of credit checking account would still have a $500,000 balance. And interrupt me if I say anything, if I'm misunderstanding it, because I'm trying to make sure I understand it correctly. Whenever rents come in, I do short-term rentals on them. So the rents are coming in literally every day. There's, you know, 1 for this night and then 2 for these other 2 apartments. And so they're coming in every day. It's paying down the principal every single time I get a payment. And then I pay interest only on the total amount. Is that all correct so far? Mm-hmm. On the total amount. So 1 month I can make $12,000, and now my principal on my loan goes all the way down to $488. Whereas if I am not in that loan product, I'm going to pay my interest only payment on my line of credit. I'm going to pay my mortgage, and then that extra, call it $6,500, is going to be doing nothing for me. In fact, it's just going to be benefiting the lien holder on my current mortgage, because they're reinvesting that money and I'm making 0.011%, right? I'm making nothing off that money. But whereas if I'm not touching that rent because I don't have any big repairs and I'm just, you know, paying the normal utilities and so on, the rest of it is going to pay down the principal. So I know it's complicated, but I love it from a landlord point of view. Absolutely love it.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to get out of mortgage debt, and you're right, Isaac, as far as investment properties, we just opened that up about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, to investment properties. And right now I've seen it work very well for some people. Some people have done these, especially in Arizona now with your Airbnbs. You know, they show them, they buy them as investment properties, but of course they're using them as an Airbnb. But that's fine. The bottom line is that if you can use this product to get yourself out of mortgage debt, number 1, number 2, to have the availability of funds. You know, I look at this thing. In fact, I just had this conversation yesterday with a client. I look at this thing for myself, right? When I retire, could be in a few more years, but when I retire, I'm going to have an asset, my house, where I've got this line of credit where if I need to, I can use this to supplement my income. And let me explain that. So if I've got $1 million line and I owe nothing, and to make me whole from Social Security and pension, to make me whole, maybe it's $3,000 a month, or let's just use $5,000 a month, to what I'm used to living on. So that $5,000 a month, if I utilize that line, that's $60,000 a year. It's going to take me a long time to utilize that whole $1 million without even dipping into my investments. So what I'm telling you is there's so many different angles that you can use this.
Yeah. Like comparing it to a reverse mortgage would be a really fascinating spreadsheet. Yeah. I hate reverse mortgages. Yeah. If you compare this to a reverse mortgage, where like you're just building up what you owe on the property over and over and over again, and then at the end, not the end, then you decide, okay, I'm done. I'm just going to sell it, move into a condo. You still own the property, and let's say now you own $500,000. The property has been appreciating year after year after year after year, and now it's worth $800,000. You can still sell the property, pay off the $500,000 that you now owe, and still have the rest, the remaining balance. It's really cool. I'm sorry, there's nothing. I haven't heard of anything else like it.
You know, people always ask me, okay, so this sounds too good to be true. Or they'll say, what's the downside of this mortgage? And to be honest with you, there's only one that I can think of that I've ever seen. And that is, if you spend more than what you make, this is not the loan for you. And that's probably the only fact, and the only time, in fact, the mortgage company, which is either North Point Bank or Merchants Bank, anytime that they will never ask you for a mortgage payment, never, because your payroll and everything else is your payment plus a whole lot more. So from a reverse mortgage standpoint, you could treat it that way, but again, you have full control. The other good thing about that, though, is I think as real estate agents, I know this has been a very, very big topic with real estate agents, how I see you people utilizing, not only for yourself personally, because as I know, being on commission and salary, income goes like this, right? As with agents, as with everybody else. This product allows you to have those dips. In fact, let's just say that for whatever reason, someone gets sick and they're out of work for 90 days and they have no money coming in. Well, I know this lender over here, that $500,000, he's going to want his payment right away. Our loan, don't have to worry about it. Because as long as you're underneath your credit limit, if you're down at 200 and you have a credit limit of 500, you don't have to worry about making a payment. You're never late.
Because the interest is just stacked on top.
The interest will be added at the end of the month.
So I'm going to say another example why I really wish I had this loan last week. So last week there was a really good deal sent to me from a wholesaler, and I was going to need about 125,000 down. I didn't have it in my account, and I was like, okay, let's start looking for a line of credit again. And then I was like, I couldn't find anything that was remotely good, so I had to miss this opportunity. If I had had this loan, and again, going back to the example, I owe 500,000 on fourplex, it's worth $1 million. I could have written a check that day for 125,000. Right out of there, it would have had my fourplex. The balance would have gone up to 625 instead of 500,000. But I wouldn't have had to go through a bunch of loan paperwork. I wouldn't have had to see, oh shoot, my line of credit, which I didn't have, but let's say my line of credit actually expired a month ago. I wouldn't have had to do any of that. I have that money readily available. Same day, I can just write a check just like it's out of my bank account. So the money, it's like constantly there. And then this is the cool part. So then I buy the home, remodel the home. Now it's worth more, and I refinance and I get a loan on that second loan. Let's just say a standard loan, and I get money back, right? I can take that money back and pay back off that loan, pay it back down to 500,000, or maybe I don't get all of it back. Maybe I get 75 back. Well, now my mortgage is 550 instead of 625. And I have a separate loan for the rental property that's now cash flow. It gives you cash. I mean, literally, it gives you cash.
That's right. And that's what I was saying earlier about you really don't need another loan. The other thing, the talking points, I know this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier, that realtors today, and I know most of them want to always talk to their clients, their past clients, their present clients, all that. They want to touch those clients at least once every quarter. And now you can be the educator of this product, because I can guarantee you, because I've seen it happen, I'm one of them, where here with this product on their home, guess what? Now all of a sudden you have a talking point. You know that second home you were thinking about buying, or that rental property you were thinking about buying. Now, because your home is appreciated so much, you've got all that equity. And now you can not only pay off that home sooner, but now all of a sudden your plans change. You can get the second home, call Isaac, get that second home. Now, there you go, you got another deal. Now all of a sudden the same client wants to buy an investment property. Boom, now you got 3. And all you did was make 1 phone call. That's how powerful this is. So, I can promise you that.
So let me rephrase what he's saying is, like, you have a client who wants to get into real estate investing, but they're like, yeah, but I don't really have much money saved up. I got 50,000 in the bank and I want to, keep most of that in the bank, but they have 400,000, 500,000, 600,000 equity in their home. His point is, you have the money. You just don't know how to access it. All you have to do is refinance into this loan, and then all that money is readily available. And it's also readily available at any time. Like there's probably not a deal that you're interested in right now, maybe not next month or a month after that. But when that deal comes up, you're ready. You've got the buying power to make an offer that same day. And so now you use this, you go to clients who you helped buy a home 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, who have a lot of equity in their home and they love their home, they don't want to sell, but they want to invest in real estate. This is their down payment. This is how they get it. So yeah.
Prime example was of exactly what Isaac is talking about, happened with me yesterday. I had a real estate agent who had called me, is excited about this. She wants it for herself, but she's got 5 friends, not even past clients, but 5 friends that she knows would want this type of loan. And that's how, I mean, this thing is so powerful that, you know, when you get around the barbecue and you're having a barbecue on a Sunday or a Saturday, and who talks about 30-year fixed rate mortgages? Who cares, right? Oh, I got 2.5. Oh, really? I got 3. Well, okay, cool. There's not much to talk about. Now, all of a sudden you say, hey, if you could pay off your home in about half the time without changing your spending habits, would that interest you? And who wouldn't say yes?
Yeah. And that's actually a really good point. I've been talking to a lot of agents in our office about like, now is the time to be actively prospecting, actively checking in with your clients. How are you doing? How are you stressed? If you have a client who is in sales like we are, and they're really nervous because their cash flow is lower, this is incredible. This is something that can give them that security blanket that they didn't even know they had it, and they already have it. It's in their account. It's in their balance on their home. It's in their equity is what I mean to say. So if you have a client who they've been making 120 a year and now they're making 60 a year, they could really use that extra 60,000. And they can just draw on it on this without even having to draw, really. It's just using this as a checking account. So this is an opportunity to call clients, hear how things are going. And if you hear people freaking out, say, I've got a product you might be interested in. And you can be, a hero to them, right? Like really save the day by introducing them to this really unique product. Yeah, again, I know I keep saying it, but there's really nothing like it. The only thing like it is getting a line of credit, which I'm not sure if anyone's shopping for line of credits right now. It's really hard. There's not many out there, and the ones out there are not really attractive. And you have 2 mortgages in. You got your standard mortgage, and you're paying interest-only payments on your line of credit. And your money that if you have excess months is doing nothing for you, like nothing. So it's a complicated product. If you guys have questions, obviously give Jeff a call or give me a call. I'm happy to kind of break it down. I love spreadsheets. I'm not sure if anyone's heard that before. I'm gonna be spreadsheeting this one. Do you have any good spreadsheets for this?
Well, actually, our simulator calculator, this is it's really basically a spreadsheet. In fact, what's really interesting is I've had numerous Boeing engineers come into my office, and engineers, you know how they are with numbers, right? Well, they couldn't break our simulator calculator. They go, oh my God, this thing's right on. I tried to bust it, but they couldn't do it. But anyways, yes, I'd love to talk to any one of you. Talk to any one of your clients. I think the other last thing I'll leave you with is that if one of your clients goes on this loan, and then they decide a year down the road, they want to buy an investment property. The cool thing about that is on this loan, we only qualify people with the interest only payment. Oh, geez. Make sure you heard that right. We qualify them with the interest only payment, obviously plus taxes, insurance. We do not qualify them on the fully indexed loan, which gives your consumer, your client, buying power.
Can I put those in the numbers? So, okay, so just in case people don't know what that means, when a buyer wants to buy a home, they have to and it's a $4,000 a month payment on a standard 30-year mortgage, okay? They have to qualify for their personal residence and that extra $4,000 a month, right? And to qualify, what I mean by that is general lending terms. Obviously, lending's always changing, but roughly you qualify for about 45% of your gross monthly take home. So let's say your gross monthly take home is $20,000. You would qualify for $9,500 a month in total payments. However, that's $9,500 a month less all your debts. So take out the 2 car payments. Now you're at 85. Take out the student loans. Now you're at 8,000, and take out your credit card debt. Now you're at 7,500. Now they don't qualify. Well, if it's interest only payments, that $4,000 a month is probably more like $2,600 a month, total round numbers. And then, so now they have an extra $1,200 in buying power. That's huge. I didn't even think about that. That's really big.
Yeah, we're the only company that does that. So if a client is on this loan and goes to Wells Fargo will not qualify them on the interest only.
How many can you have if you have multiple properties?
Right now you can have 1, 2, 3.
Okay, is that properties or units?
That's residential, a second home, and non-owner.
Okay, so, and it's up to 4 units, right? Anything 5 or more, okay. And that's properties, though, not units, right? Like, so I could have a 4-plex, single family, and a duplex, okay? And then what is the interest rate? Interest rates always fluctuating, I know, but like, it's prime plus.
No, what happens is this is tied to the CMT, which is the constant maturity treasury. It used to be tied to LIBOR, but LIBOR is going bye-bye in 2023, I believe. So that index will not be available anymore. So it's tied to the CMT. CMT was the closest one that we could get to LIBOR. With that, you've got, just like anything else, you've got an index, which is the CMT, then you have a margin, and then that equals your interest rate. So if you add those two together, that equals your interest rate. One of the things that you're gonna see, we just came out with, a 3-year fixed and a 5-year fixed. What I'm seeing today is, because I know all of you have seen it, in the beginning of the year, February, I think it was, I have never in my 40 years seen rates increase at such a rapid pace. For that 90 days, it was just unbelievable. One day we were in the middle to low 3s, next day we're in the 6s. I mean, that was the fastest I've ever seen them go up. So I'm seeing some of the clients now that are on month to month. You can be on this month to month, which I have on my primary. I just put a 3-year fixed on my property in Arizona. So what that means is you're fixed for 3 years and then it shifts back to a monthly. And the reason I'm suggesting people do that today is because there's so much uncertainty in the marketplace. Who knows if we'll ever get inflation under control? I can tell you what, this week, Friday, is going to be either a bad day or hopefully a good day as far as interest rates go, because the inflation numbers come out on Friday. So with a 3-year fixed, the reason I tell people to do that today is because you are fixed for 3 years. This one I did, this example I did, and I guess I'll throw this back at you in a second, but I did it at, the initial rate was 5.88 on a 5-year fixed.
That was the CMT index?
That's what?
The 5.88 is the CMT?
That's the CMT plus the margin.
That is plus the margin?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so what is the margin?
Well, that margin on this example was at 3%.
Okay, and that was for a 3-year fix?
No, a 5-year.
That was for a 5-year. So like rough numbers.
3 year, I
obviously.
think the 3 years low. I think it was 5.010.
Oh, so not even much better if you go 5 over 3.
Well, I mean, it's 3/4 of a point, but in this example, though, the interesting thing about it is people get hung up on interest rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
This example's at 5% fixed for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
The all-in-one is 5.88. 5-year fixed. And, oops, wrong one. And I'm gonna save $222,000 in interest.
Right. So, sorry, my question is, so you got the CMT index, which is what it is, but then what is the margin for a 5-year, 3-year, month to month?
You have margins all the way from 2.5 up to 3.75. And the difference between those is obviously cost.
Got it.
The lower the margin, the higher the cost. Now, the higher the cost is, this is the other thing why I don't understand why the banks are doing this, but let's just say, I think the highest cost is 2%, if I remember right, 2 or 2.25. And what that means is if you owe $300,000 today and your house is worth $1 million and we give you a $800,000 line, that cost of 2% is on what you owe, what you currently owe, not your line amount.
Right.
Even though, see, I would think it'd be on the line amount, right? Because you could go there after you close,
Right.
but you only have to pay that on your initial advance.
Got it. So then, loan to value. So, on a line of credit, going back to my earlier example, I was saying I could maybe get a $200,000 line of credit. That's because for a multifamily rental property, the best I was seeing was 70%. So mortgage plus, whatever else would get up to 70%. So in my case, that was 200,000. What is your loan to value maximum? Like for drawing?
I believe, if it's a multifamily, if it's a single family, it's 75% on a rental. Multifamily, I believe it is 70%. Second homes and primary residents are 80%.
Got it. Cool. Which is standard. That's what all lines of credit are. Rachel's rolling her eyes at me.
You're like a kid in a candy shop. Like,
Well, we have Seth here, who's a real estate attorney and also an investor. Seth, what are your thoughts on? Have you heard of a product like this?
No.
No. Okay. What?
hello.
Any questions from you? Because I mean, I lean on Seth a lot because he is where I want to be as far as investing goes. Like what? I mean, sorry, I'm putting you on the spot, Seth. What are your thoughts on this type of product? Any questions for Jeff?
Sure. So for investment properties, do you guys do LLC ride-throughs, or is that gonna have to be vested in the borrower's name?
No, we actually, as a matter of fact, I'm working on one right now, LLC. It's in the LLC.
Okay. And then for investment properties, what sort of underwriting are you looking at here? Is it like debt service coverage or?
The underwriting will be the same as anything else, and I'll touch on what I know you used 45. The max debt ratio you can have is 43 gross. And there's certain things that we do on investment properties. That's more of a processing thing, but we basically just look at revenue for the year,
Right.
net profit, add in the depreciation, and maybe 1 or 2 other things.
Right. So I guess when you say, 45% of your income, who's you in like the situation where, let's say you have, a single asset real estate company, LLC, holding a property. Are we just looking at, I guess, what I would consider debt service underwriting, which is the performance of the asset versus its expenses over time? And that also would typically imply having it in service at the time of financing. Or are we just looking at kind of disregarding the LLC and, the borrower and an entire portfolio?
We look at the entire.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know where you're going with this, with the debt servicing thing. Those are more the bank things. All of our loans on this product are underwritten manually.
Okay.
So there is no computers, there's none of that stuff like they do use in a lot of other places. but ours are all manually underwritten.
So what Seth is asking is like, if Realty One Group were to try and get a business loan, they're going to give us a loan based off of the business and the business profit and loss, right? And so if the business profit and loss statements aren't showing that we're very profitable, it's gonna be hard to get a loan. But what Seth is saying is when we have an LLC, when you have an LLC, that LLC might not be a profitable business because of what you're doing in taxes or whatever. But he wants to make sure that he's being qualified based off of Seth's income, because Seth is the owner of this LLC and this LLC and this LLC, and he also makes this income. And Jeff is saying that is how they qualify you. It's not based off of the business health, it's based off of the owner of the business.
That's correct.
Okay.
So you'd probably do like loans to trustees as, you know, trustee of whatever, you know, like self-directed IRA, life insurance.
As far as what now?
Well, you'd probably loan to someone as a trustee of a trust.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we, for an example, we can actually use what's called asset depletion on this loan.
Right.
So if you've got, I don't know, $2 million sitting in an IRA and you only make $100,000 and you're trying to get $1 million loan,
Right.
we can use the money sitting in the IRA as an asset depletion.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly what the formula is, but it will add to the $100,000 in income.
Right.
Asset depletion's really complicated, so that would
It's
be
easy. I don't remember it though, because I don't get it.
Yeah, it's numbers. Numbers don't lie. There is a formula, but if that went over your head, that's fine. That would be the type of thing that you wouldn't want to advise your client on. You'd want to give them to Jeff and have him break it down. But it's not, what he's saying is they can use your liquid and non-liquid assets as income if someone is not declaring a lot of income as far as taxes go. That's a little more complicated.
Mhm. Now, one of the things inside of here, I'm sorry, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. Inside of here, this packet I'm gonna leave down here, there's a few of them here. I'm gonna give some more to Rachel, take to Gig Harbor. You'll see a brochure on the all-in-one. This one I'm sure you all like, which are the frequently asked questions. And then this one is just the smarter way to borrow, the all-in-one, testimonials and all kinds of stuff in here. Gain greater control of your housing costs and live more securely with the all-in-one. It's great information for all of you. Like I said, I've got a number of real estate agents that have this loan. And every time I see them, they always come up and they just say, thank you, because you know what? Last year wasn't that good of a year, but because I had this loan, I didn't have to worry about my house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only loan that I can think of. Let's just say you want to travel the world. You want to be gone for a year. Pack up, go, never worry about your mortgage payment. Because the only thing the all-in-one is going to do is take the interest and add it every month. You're never past due on your mortgage. Never make a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
It's
Pretty cool, guys. It really is. Yeah, if you want to, if you're not really grasping this, it is complicated. Don't feel weird if this is not really connecting. Feel free to like call me and I can try and paint it in a more clear picture. But yeah, we'll give you Jeff's information. We'll have these handouts in Gig Harbor and at this office. And yeah, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, any other questions? All right. Thanks a lot, man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Have a good day, everybody.